Hello, and welcome to another update video on gold. Yeah, today I think we could get a bit of a bounce there. It'll be an interesting day because we've got CPI data coming out, and we get a little bit of data, so that can lead to some short-term volatility. I wanted to help you understand what the relevant levels are, the pivots, but yeah, I guess it was quite difficult for most, or it has been quite difficult for most gold bulls in recent weeks because people expected generally breakouts to the upside. We still seem to be in some kind of a correction. There is a way out of this, which is the orange scenario, as you know. We'll talk about that. I also want to answer a question, and then I'll tell you again about the scenarios, but they are not new, right? I think a few days ago I made a video and explained to you that we are likely here. Well, we are back at the top of the range here, right? And support was down here. And we've now reached this support zone, and I want to share with you resistance, the different structures, and what we're dealing with. So, the most bullish, we'll move from the most bullish to the most bearish scenarios. And again, nobody's got a crystal ball, right? But it's about understanding what the relevant pivots are that keep the relevant scenarios alive, where we could get a bounce, and what to watch out for. So, the most bullish scenario, which has some flaws, yeah, I have to say that it has some flaws, but the most bullish count is this orange scenario in which we are working on an A wave, a B wave, a C wave, D wave, E wave triangle. Actually, we were working on it. In this scenario, particularly, the low could be in. It's absolutely possible that a low has formed and the wave 4 triangle bottomed, and we're now pushing higher. But the thing is, and I said to you, it's not reliable because this last leg down is a 5-wave move. At least it looks like that. And that's the question of one member here on the channel. The question was, yeah, but this looks more like 5 down. Well, it does. But then again, we are really on a small time frame there. If you really zoom in and take a look at the nanostructures, I mean, you have to go down to really be able to count them. 1 hour chart, and you get distortions, yeah? And again, it's all about probabilities. It's not that this can't be a triangle. It shouldn't be, really. It shouldn't be. But I need a bullish pathway. Okay, I need to be able to tell you what would be a bullish pathway. Because what would be the pathway to choose, really? Or, you know, what would be the pathway to choose if the market really breaks out? I have to have a bullish scenario. And that is the only direct one, really, that I think makes sense here at the moment. And it works, right? It's the one that we can watch for a direct breakout. But I have to say, if really a triangle completed already, we should see a much more directly aggressive bullish breakout. Haven't seen that yet. And then in addition to that, this move to the upside, it can be classed as 5 waves up, but the internal 5th wave was way extended, so it could also be a 3-wave move. But again, that is a possible 1-2 setup, yeah. And then the other problem is the wave 2 here, the pullback, looks quite sharp. It looks quite impulsive. But anyway, we've now approached support. This orange count remains valid as long as we're holding above the wave 4 low, which formed at $3,320 on the 30th of July. The support zone is the area to watch for a bounce, though. And below 3,364, this scenario will become less likely. So that's the orange count. And to validate this further, I want to see a break above $3,503 next, and an upside breakout. Then there's one that could keep us in the range for a bit. I mean, this triangle might extend. It might even be a B-wave triangle. That's the count in which we could simply be in a triangle where we say this was an A-wave, B-wave triangle. We could eventually get a C-wave down. And this triangle is A, B, C, D, E. It was at the cusp of invalidating, but it didn't invalidate. Now, in this scenario, we might spend a bit more time in a triangle. And we could also see a bounce today because this D wave down could form an ABC structure. So I think today I'd be ready at least for a bounce or over the coming sessions. From here maybe, yeah, into resistance. I don't see any sign for that. I think the market is waiting for CPI before it makes a move. So that would, however, if we get a bounce and we don't break out above resistance and then hold above this red line at 3,307, or no, 3,305, which is the end of June low, well, that might lead to a triangle, then another lower high, and then like this, for example, yeah? It just is a way of extending the triangle. I mean, at this point, any 5-wave move up might lead to a breakout. This correction has been extended, but the only 5-wave move up I see here is this one, and I said it comes with some problems, right? So that's, let's say, a scenario that could keep us in the range. It tells you also about this key level here from end of June. And the market, even in this blue count, the D wave, might react here to micro support, even though it might not lead to an upside breakout. But there are pivots, there are levels to watch. 3,445 to $3,502. Now, the most directly bearish count is the white count, in which this is an A wave, this is a B wave. The problem is, in this B wave, the internal C wave is very short. Also not really one that is ideal. In this scenario, we could be a 1 down, a wave 2 up, wave 3 down, wave 4, wave 5. I think that would be the most and straightforward way to complete this correction. The most directly bearish one. But I think proportion-wise, actually the blue count kind of makes really a lot of sense. It does make sense. So I think at least be ready. Yeah, at least be ready for a bounce. Watch this resistance area for reaction, and only really when we see how the market reacts to support and what the structure of the next rally is, we can really start to distinguish between orange and the more bearish scenarios. Because if the move up is impulsive and we break out, it's likely orange. I'll give you also the next upside targets in case things happen very quickly today. You want to be prepared. That's what it's for. In case we really break out to the upside, I don't see any signal for that at this point, but then the third wave should get to 3,664 to 3,697 next. Yeah, that's the update on gold. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in additional updates for gold and silver, but also stocks updates and so on, updates about the NASDAQ, check out our stocks membership, where you can also get daily updates for gold and silver, typically daily. I will probably, after CPI is out, I will update the chart when something happened there. So check it out. Link is in the description. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.